Assalamu alaikum. Do you know what is catcalling? Catcalling is the act of shouting, harassing, and often sexual suggestive, threatening, or derisive comments at someone publicly, or rude sexual remarks made by men passing women on the street. Usually, catcalls are about the woman's body. Example, catcalling like someone saying, "Hey sexy girl," who whistle to passing women on the street. Catcalling can happen around the world and there are laws about this, such as Philippines. Catcaller at Philippines will get arrested under criminal charge. And in Malaysia, catcaller can get jailed under law. So we'll know more about this catcalling issue in this video.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am your journalist. We can consider catcalling as a virus in a community, and it is definitely harmful to the victims themselves. As a man, we will never fully comprehend what it's like to be a woman. Blatant sexual and verbal harassment isn't so much a part of the male social experience. It isn't something I worry about while walking down the street, but it is sadly a normal part of their life for many women. We have no idea how much needed insight into the sexism and sexual harassment many women face every day. That feeling of being watched and harassed, or anticipating some sort of verbal harassment or intimidation from crowds of people while you are on a harmless walk, it is quite unsettling and downright uncomfortable. What do you feel when someone catcalls you?
Hi, hello, my name is Nabila Aishah and a catcaller victim. I want to share my experience and response. A long time ago, I was sitting in a bookstore in Masjid Jami when a man came up to me and started talking to me. I was reading and I didn't want to be bothered, but at the same time, I didn't know how to tell him that. Suddenly, he said, "Hello, beautiful." Maybe this sounds complimentary and flattering. His words weren't offensive or gross, but it made me feel unpleasant. He asked me about Wi-Fi and asked if I would go out with him. I responded, semi-jokingly, "Maybe when I'm 18." He walked away, but come back and slipped me a piece of paper. "Dinner on me," followed by his name and number phone. I turned bright red and felt as if someone had undressed me in the public without my permission. I uncomfortably put the piece of paper and left. I stopped feeling leisurely at that moment. It felt sickening.
How is it affecting your life?
How it's affecting my life? It's awful. Most of the time, it's just annoying. At best, it can rarely be flattering. At worst, it can be really scary and dehumanizing. Even as I got older, it never really got better. I never walked down the street alone at night without worrying about what could happen.
How do you build yourself back up after an unpleasant situation?
How I built myself up? First, I stopped and stared them down with the fury of hell in my eyes. Second, by sharing my story can provide me relief and lift some weight off my shoulders from stress. Last but not least, I ignore it. I'm pretty sure ladies out there do this every single time. Harassers enjoy the attention, so ignoring them takes their power away.
After we have done our interviews with a victim of catcalling, it is a time to get on catcaller perceptions and thoughts on why they are acting that kind of way. Let's take a look at it. What is on your mind actually at that moment?
In my opinion, men being nice with girls appear to be common in our society. Even when we are still in primary school, as a result, we have introduced them into adolescent life in order to disturb girls by catcalling. Why do men enjoy it so much? In my past experience, basically because I have lost self-esteem. I want to appear confident in front of others. I'm also trying to impress my circle of friends, where it appears to be a competition to be boldest, strongest, and most macho in the group. And I learn it from other men close to me, such as my brother, my uncle, men in the neighborhood, or others, and I'm not sure if it's a bad thing to do.
What makes you do such an action?
As a catcaller, I wanted some friendliness from the women, showing that I had managed to get their attention and I like it.
Let's say this happens in your family members, such as your sisters or possibly your girlfriend. How would you react?
It should not happen. They can catcall other women, but not my family or my friends. That is basically rude.
Is there any advice for these youngsters out there?
To any other catcallers out there, we are currently in the year of 2021. Women are now more powerful than we previously believed. We must treat them with respect, and they must not be treated as a sexual object. We, as men, have no right to criticize anything about them, either their body or their outfit. If catcalling still occurs, we may make women feel uncomfortable when they go out from their home. Assuming they are members of our family or friends, we must protect them from catcalling in the future.
Okay, now we know that women who experience catcalling get negative impacts, and catcaller have a bad behavior for some reason for their action. So now we will listen by expert about this issue.
A video went viral on social media where a Malaysian man was seen catcalling a group of women on motorcycles and yelling away at them. There were also a few who supported him, claiming that he was only doing so to release tension. This sparked the discussion of toxic masculinity still prevalent amongst men and how some of them still think it's okay to catcall women. This issue is greatly problematic as street harassment significantly harms victims, especially women, both physically, mentally, and perpetuate a culture that degrades, dehumanizes, and devalues women. Catcalling is not an acceptable norm of behavior in Malaysia. Even in Western culture norm, whistling at someone is disrespectful. The catcaller might be sued or punished by the country's government if it grossly affect the victims. Men who catcalls can be verbal and non-verbal behaviors such as whistles, leers, winks, grab, pinches, catcall, and street remarks. Leering may have been the most common form of catcalling because they perceive it as the least invasive, most defensible activity.
Call for action. How to deal with street harassment or catcalling. If you are being harassed in public, try to remember that first, it's your right to leave the situation. If you feel uncomfortable, it's absolutely fine to leave the area. Second, it's your right to tell the person to stop talking to you. If you feel able to, tell the person to stop talking to you or to leave you alone. Third, if you feel unsafe, call the police. If you feel like the situation is escalating, call 999 for help. And lastly, do what is best for you. The best thing to do is whatever will make you feel the most safe and comfortable. You are in no way obligated to respond to a harasser or reporting them. So trust your judgment to do what feels right for you.
Okay, now we understand that catcalling must be stopped from early and should not be cultural norm in Malaysia, because catcalling gives negative impact to victim and catcaller also in their future. So, we must take an action as men to not be catcaller, and for women to get far from catcaller, for not to be a victim to pretend catcalling. Thank you.